Welcome into your Daily Buckeye Blitz for Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. Hope you're having a good week. Another one winding down. It's downhill from here. Please join me Friday. I will be live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Instagram Live, Twitter Live, whatever that's called. And we're working on Facebook. Facebook is coming in maybe a week. I'll try and get it done this week. We'll see. Anyway, what else? Oh, I have my 5 keys to a Buckeye victory on tomorrow's Daily Blitz. And then Friday night / Saturday morning, I'll have my best bets for week. Is this week 6? Holy shit. Week 6 already. All right. So let's get into it. We've got a huge Iowa game coming up Saturday. I know we're 3 touchdown favorites, but it's going to be very interesting to see how we stack up against a tough defense and a very good running offense. So today we're talking Jim Knowles and Chip Kelly. Both the coordinators were available this week to talk about their sides of the ball. Been a lot of consternation about the defense a bit, and Chip Kelly's got everything humming on offense. It seems like whatever he dials up works for the most part. But Jim Knowles, the linebackers, maybe not playing up to snuff. It'd be nice to talk to Laurinaitis here once soon. But anyway, let's get into it here. First off, we'll start with OC Chip Kelly on the offense. He was asked how much we've seen of the Buckeye offense. He said there's always more at disposal, but it's what is applicable to the game and who you're playing. So you have a large number of plays available to you, but you pare it down in practice because you can't practice all of the plays you have. This is what we talked about yesterday with Ryan Day. You have a ton of plays, but his main reasoning for paring it down is what can the players what do they know, the players know, and what can they execute? So Chip's kind of saying the same thing here. You can't practice all the plays you have, and you need to practice them in order to use them in a game. You're not going to use a new play you never practiced typically. So he said many plays are situational, and sometimes the situation just doesn't come up in a game. But each week is different. They over-prepare more often than not. That makes sense. You don't want to go into a game and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, we've never seen this. We've got no plays for this bear front or whatever it might be. Anyways, he said it's good to be able to put some plays you don't use into Tupperware and save for later. But on drawing up plays, he said every inch on a piece of paper is a second of a pass rush. So scheming's done once the ball is snapped. Makes sense. He was asked, can you try to get guys touches, like specific players? And he said, theoretically you can, but you also have to factor in the defense and what they're taking away. Defense can try to take away the run or pass if they really want to. So that may alter your plans. They can't double cover every receiver, So he was asked, what do you think about what do you like best about being offensive coordinator as opposed to head coach? He said, you can go to the bathroom in between series as an offensive coordinator. Chip, dropping gems. He was asked, when a play starts right at the snap, what are you watching? He said, every person has a spot on the field they're supposed to be watching. He's talking about assistant coaches on the offense, GAs. So they've got a ton of eyeballs on every single play, and each is assigned to either an area on the field, a position group. So every person has a spot they're supposed to be watching. He said usually the trigger point, he's watching the trigger point of the play. So if it's an off tackle, he's watching that right tackle and how the defense is reacting to the play as it evolves. But anyway, he checks with the GAs and staff members who are watching their portion of the field or the play or the personnel and gets the input as to what worked or what didn't work on any given play. So it's kind of like just live in-game, gathering of information on each play. So I imagine that's very useful. He said in the run game, how do you decide week to week how to call the run game? He said it's based on what the defense of the week shows you on film. He was asked about going for it on fourth down versus Sparty. He said there's an analytic aspect to it, but you also have to look at the flow of the game and what does it do to the team if they don't get it. On the quarterbacks, he was asked how Will Howard has done this season. Chip Kelly said, I think Will's done a nice job, better from week 1 to week 4. It's the toughest position to play in football. That's quarterback, because you don't get hit in practice. He said this before. You don't practice it like you play it live in the game because you can't get hit in practice. He said Will rarely makes the same mistake twice. He's done a good job of protecting the ball, and his completion percentage has gone up in each game. I believe we talked about this on Monday when I talked about grades for the offense. He's having he's 10%. 10% better than he was last year at K-State in completion percentage this year, just through 4 games this year. Where would you like Will Howard to improve, he was asked. He said, complete every pass. Okay. He was asked about Will Howard locking onto his receivers, just like Ryan Day was asked yesterday. He said, I think he's doing a good job. Everybody can improve. This is a growth game. You don't want to be playing in game 8 like you did in game 4. He said, I'm pleased with where Will is right now. So that means to me that, yes, maybe he's making some minor mistakes, but he's improving from week 1 to week 4. And so, like he said, it's a growth game. And he's talking about week to week growth. And you should not be, week 8 the same as you were in week 1. So I think that's interesting to note. And we should see some improvements. Devin Brown, he said that Devin's done a great job. He's been amazing. And he's just a chin strap away from being in the game like we saw on Saturday night. He said he's really happy with where he is right now. O-line, he just said pass protection takes all 11 on the players. Versus Iowa coming up, the challenge of facing Iowa's defense. Defensive coordinator Phil Parker has been there for a long time. He said they do an unbelievable job of developing players. They know who they are, recruiting, and who fits into their scheme. They will be the best coached offensive team they'll face all season long. Defensive team. That makes a lot more sense. He said it's a challenge that you get excited about if you're a real football guy. He said, we're not trying to out-scheme anybody. They are trying to put players in the best positions to succeed. He said, you're not going to out-scheme Phil Parker. This game has always been about the players and will always be about the players. There will be a lot of one-on-one battles all over the field, and Ohio State has to win those. He said this is a chess match against Phil Parker and Iowa's defense, and no coordinator ever thinks about how they are getting into another coordinator's head. They're focused on the situations and the play calls. He said, if you're thinking that, then he's in your head, if you're thinking about another coordinator on the other sideline. But all right, let's switch gears here, go into some Jim Knowles talking about the defense. He was asked about preparing for an opponent. Can you expect something and not see what you practiced for? He said, yes. It's like, he said, it's like, what the hell? When he's looking at the live in game, he said, there's so many times when things you thought would work didn't work, and you have to change what you're doing and adjust. Makes sense. He said, we've started slow the last couple of weeks, and I blame myself for that. I feel that's kind of the coach taking the blame, where maybe it could be on the coaches and players possibly. But anyway, that's just my opinion. He said there are thousands of permutations of what can happen. So it comes down to how many times were players prepared for what they actually see in a game. He said it happens a lot. The beginning of games, you get some unpredictable things. Like you want your players to always default to your training. So you look at the plays where you failed and you ask why it happened. He was talking about punching the ball out. Lathan Ransom's got this sweet little right hook he's been using to knock the ball loose. He said, we'd love all of them to do it. They forced 2 fumbles on Saturday, and they trained for that a lot in the spring and preseason. He said, those are deliberate. Those do not happen accidentally. Lathan Ransom is lethal with that, and I want him to keep it up. Yeah, let's get the rest of the guys on that. Hancock got in there. I know he got a fumble, but let's get the rest of that secondary and defense, taking some whacks at the ball. He was asked, "Are you satisfied with how you're getting to the quarterback right now?" He said, "Never satisfied, never satisfied, but they are executing what's called." So, yeah, if you're not calling a blitz or whatever, if you're not getting home with 4, maybe you should dial up a blitz, that kind of shit. He's asked, have you ever been nitpicked like you before in your career, like you have been at Ohio State? He said, my father was a Philly cop, so I got nit whacked. No, I know the feeling. On the linebackers, point of contention here is Sonny Styles settling in at the pace you thought he would at linebacker. He said, yeah, I'm very pleased with Sonny. He's being asked to do a lot of things, playing 3 different linebacker spots at times. So if he looks off or a play goes wrong, that's on Jim Knowles. Knowles said, when I look at a play, I say, okay, he should have done this. Then I have to look at myself and say, okay, how many times was he put in that position in practice? And that makes sense, right? I mean, if you don't practice a play or positioning and reacting in practice, how the hell are you going to know to do that in a game? It's impossible almost. So he said Styles is employing a bunch of techniques, and they need to do a better job of coaching the details. So that, to me, that's pointing a finger right at James Laurinaitis. You are the linebacker coach, sir. And we pump your tires all the time, but when a coach says something like that, that goes to the position coach, and you got to do better. He was asked, how long does it take to nail down all the nuances of moving from safety to linebacker? Knowles said, at Ohio State, we don't have time for year 3. Like Knowles had at Oklahoma State in developing players, he said they have to be ready sooner. That's very true. CJ Hicks, sorry, I need to drink water. Still battling this little bit of a cold. So how do you decide to play 3 linebackers and pull Jordan Hancock off the field? He said, it's not easy to pull him off the field, but it's really personnel based. That was bad. Sorry. It's not that Hancock can't handle it, because he can. Knowles said he has had time in his career when he stayed in nickel because those were his dudes. But they have more options here. Knowles was asked, what do you like about 3 linebacker sets? He said, Knowles said, I like the fact that they can work all together off the field as well. Said tackling needs to be better at linebacker, particularly this week. I would agree 100%. This kid we're going against at running back likes to fall forward for 5 yards. So he said they need to be knock back tacklers. So not just wrap the guy up, let him fall forward, knock him back. On the corners playing off coverage last week, he said that's a consistent thought and adjustment. We've been solid on explosive plays, so I think you can't forget that, because that wins games. They need to play press coverage more, though. Join me tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have some illustrations, screenshots of that touchdown play by Michigan State, where you had a bunch formation out to the defense's right side, and Burke and IGB were stacked there, but IGB was playing like 10 yards off. So they got to change the way that they deal with these stack coverages. And that's kind of what Knowles is talking about there. But 4:30 Eastern tomorrow. Check it out. On Caleb Downs, he said they activated Caleb Downs on Saturday, and they will continue to do so. If that's an activated Caleb Downs, what the hell were we waiting for, man? Give me more of that. That dude, is there a button somewhere? Where can we push that? Can I have access to it? I would love to just boop. Caleb Downs activated. Now destroy. He said what you may not see is when they don't activate him, the offenses won't attack downfield. So he's saying if we don't have Caleb Downs coming up, coming downhill from a safety position to make plays at the line of scrimmage, it's because he's staying deep, taking away deep routes downfield. So helping out the corners and shit like that. I say, especially against this Iowa team with Cade McNamara at quarterback, activate 100%. Knowles was asked about Cody Simon. He said it's a call for Cody Simon to make that fourth down stop on the QB sneak. He said he's told to go high. They can't practice that though against a scout team quarterback like Lincoln Knowles or something. Go smack him in the face. So going against Iowa this week, you got the running back Caleb Johnson. He's a really good back. Jim Knowles is talking about. He said he runs downhill, breaks tackles. This running back, he said he's the king of falling forward and getting 2 extra yards on every carry. Should be noted he's an Ohio guy from Hamilton, Ohio. I'm preparing for an unpredictable Iowa offense. He said you can go back and look at what a new OC has done in the past, but you mostly go off what you see this year. So yeah, Ferentz's kid, Brian, got freaking fired, probably 10 years too late. But anyway, so yeah, they got a new OC. I don't know if they're that unpredictable as an offense. I wouldn't say that, that's for sure. They run the ball like 65% of the time. It's like a 2-to-1 run to pass ratio. And when Cade McNamara is your freaking quarterback, you have to run the ball. You don't have a freaking choice. So anyways, hit me in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this running back from Ohio going to Iowa? It seems to happen often, but whatever. Yeah, and tomorrow I'll give you my 5 keys, and we will go live at 4:30. Be focusing on the defense. I have some video for you and some still shots and stuff like that. So talk to you later. Go Bucks.